Microsoft invited me out to Seattle for a flight simulator event. There's a new flight sim game coming out, just called Flight Simulator, and it's actually crazy. Going into this, I didn't expect to be wowed by Flight Simulator. I'm like, yeah, like this sounds like a neat thing. Like, let's, sure. So it's at this small airport. We go in, there's actual pilots hanging out there. We go into this back room for the private event. All the developers are there and such, and I sit down. Behind me, we're sitting Aaron Greenberg from Xbox and Jeff Keighley. The presentation starts, and they're going through the 4 different major things about flight sim. Since Microsoft has access and all the permission in the world to use Bing Maps, they're using Bing Maps to essentially map the whole world. You can fly anywhere. And not just have these flat map textures on the ground like they used to have in old flight sim games. Full 3D cities. So in depth that you can see the name Hyatt on the hotel if you fly low enough. You can fly through the city. I've always wanted this to happen. Who knew it was going to be a flight sim game that let you literally explore the entire world? Now, there's another live feature in the game that's just as crazy to me, and that's weather. You can fly during current weather. They look at the maps of the clouds and such to see where it's raining and what the temperature is, all that kind of stuff, to get accurate clouds and accurate weather. You can fly exactly as it is right now from your local airport. You can fly by your house, theoretically, because they have essentially mapped everything out. I'm telling you, the amount of times I would look back at Greenberg or Keighley and just be like, and everyone was just like, wow. From Flight Simulator, right? I don't want to harp on it, but it's it's not like we're out there witnessing the next God of War title or something, right? Some amazing, glorious new flight sim. My jaw dropped multiple times during this presentation. I'm like, this is so cool. One thing that caught me off guard that I found very interesting is they said there was a bittersweet moment when there was a real hurricane going around the world, obviously causing, as they do, devastation, and people are losing their homes, and it's a somber event. And a guy came into the office and said, guys, it works. I just flew through the hurricane, and it acted like a hurricane. It'll have the eye of the hurricane and everything. Even that is accurate. After that, we went to another side room where we had a setup. It wasn't even a room. It was literally the hangar. A piece of the hangar was blocked out with curtains for us to play flight sim. We had rudders and everything, and it was the real shebang there. A realistic headsets and everything. It was really, really cool. And so they just kind of set us loose, and they're like, all right, go. So we took off in a digital Cessna from our current airport. And so it's just wow, that's what I see out there, and you can kind of circle things. And yeah, I did, and go check out the hotel I'm staying at, and fly over areas of Seattle. I even tried taking off from my local airport in Toronto, which was pretty cool. So again, we were just set loose for hours, got to try landing and stuff. And again, you can land anywhere theoretically. Obviously you can crash and it's kind of over, but you can land on roads. And so I found a nice little field beside a house to land on. I don't know, something about taking off and landing in any game, really, with a jet, with a plane. It's so fun. There's something really fun about that. I don't know why. I've always enjoyed that, though. So I was just finding interesting things to land on. And then at one point, I made a point to be all right, we're gonna go crazy. I'm gonna start weaving and bobbing through buildings and under bridges and stuff. And I was actually nailing it. I didn't crash at all during that. I was because it's the real wheel you're pulling on, and it was crazy. And the guys behind me were like, dude, this guy's a prodigy. I was nailing it. I am. So next time you need a pilot, I got you. We had lunch, talked to all the other guys. What was funny was that all the other influencers that were there, it was an influencer event, press event, etc. But almost everybody else, if not everybody else there, had some kind of, pilot experience. There were people who were literally from the Air Force and such, right? So some of these guys were hardcore enough to be, before they even tested the sim, they were pulling out notepads and planning a flight route and such. These guys are hardcore. They're YouTubers who mainly do flight sim vids. One of them was a cool guy to meet. It all clicked at some point. He makes those funny airport tower videos, which you've probably seen pop up in your feed at some point, where, you know, he pretends to be the airport tower and like gets all serious with people and like crazy stuff will happen. It's hilarious stuff. But he was there. So again, like almost everyone there, I was a little bit, in a way, the odd man out, because everyone else there with like some kind of experience with this. I'm like, I'm just here for the ride, man. So we have some lunch, and then when we're done, they're like, hey, you just flew this Cessna out of the airport digitally. We now have a pilot to take you up in a Cessna. I'm like, whoa, wicked. Let's do it. My dad's a pilot. I grew up in very small 2-person planes. Like I can pass right out in them, that like rumble sound. Like I've been used to it. It's nothing new to me. So then some people were very excited to have that experience. Like, not that I wasn't excited, but I was like, yeah, like, you know, I've done this a lot. I've grown up in these planes, but I was just excited to do it again and to tell my dad about it, because I knew he'd be really excited about it. And so, you know, I get in, we have a GoPro mounted on the front, GoPro mounted on the back. I'm like, this is wicked. We get a cool shot of us in this plane. Door closes. I got a really cool instructor guy. He's actually, you know, a pilot licensed instructor to be my pilot. But he sits in the co-pilot seat and puts me in the pilot seat. Doors close, engine starts up. We start rolling down the runway, and the cameraman, there's a main cameraman guy there. He's supposed to come in, and as my instructor says, oh, weird. The cameraman's supposed to come in, and he normally comes in and turns on all these GoPros and stuff. And oh well, like no, not oh well. I want that. I want these on. And so I'm like, I haven't played with the new GoPros at all. I had to kind of figure out how to turn them on and stuff, and like, oh crap, we're about to take off. I don't want to miss this. So I'm like pressing buttons. I'm looking over, and the dude's running on the runway going, we're trying to like signal to each other with like our fingers, like how to like turn them on, like what kind of setting he wants me to use and stuff. Figured it out, luckily. I'm like, oh good, we did it. We got it. We good. We are rolling. We take off, and I was just asking a bunch of questions to the pilot guy, just about planes and stuff in general. And we get up there, and he goes, you want to fly? He lets go of the wheel, and I take over. I flew a plane for like an hour. Whoa. You know, when I was young, I certainly have, you know, held the stick now and then, but never like anything serious, just kind of like to hold still when my dad did something up front. But to sit in the pilot seat and actually just like fully hands off, let me fly. I even gave him my phone to take pictures of me while I was flying. You know, I was rightfully nervous, right? Like, wow, currently flying a plane, right? So I'm like looking forward the whole time. I want it to be a little more loosey-goosey and like, I don't know, like talk to that. I don't even know you can hear the GoPros. We're about to find out when I go edit here, but I'm like, I don't know how much I want to like, he's like, oh, if you look to your left, you can see a thing. I'm like, all right, like I don't want to look over there. I'm afraid I'm gonna just like do that and roll. You know, again, he could theoretically just like grab, he has a wheel as well, but it's still like he wasn't even near it, right? He wasn't touching it. He was totally hands off. At one point, the funniest thing I heard, because you know you can hear the comms over your headset. Someone comes in, because I guess they sent us like 2 up at a time or 3 up or something. There's a couple of planes in the air, so you can spot them. We actually followed one. Like I followed another plane at one point, which is kind of cool. But through the comms, someone says, does anybody know where Bill Gates' house is? They're trying to find Bill Gates' house. Classic. Man, it was truly awesome. A truly awesome experience to be able to fly. And like, he had the full trust in the world. And I can't believe how it was put together, right? Can you imagine the pitch for that? Say, hey, we want to bring in a bunch of people and let them fly the planes. Like, the only way I can make sense of it is that most people there were pilots and experienced, and at the very least had like a lot of flight simulator experience. But like, imagine if it was like all people like me. I can't imagine that would ever pass, right? Like, let's make all these like, you know, Twitch streamers just fly planes, right? Like, that's a no from me. So I was overly impressed, flew a plane, super cool. It was actually a ton of fun, all of it, the entire event. It's fascinating to hear some of the things. A really interesting point raised was that there's apparently like a pilot crisis right now, where there aren't a lot of pilots, and there's increasing demand for pilots. And pilots just haven't, it's not really been cool lately for the most part. And it'd be neat to see something like this. Like, that's what the devs are hoping, that games like this make people want to become pilots, because it's a flight sim, right? Like, you're essentially flying a plane, especially if you have like the setup for it. And so to learn it, and you know, the things are super accurate. You even go in, the dude would go in, like you can change your view, and you could click every single button on the panel. Like, I was really impressed with how in-depth it was. And so maybe this game will change the world and make more pilots. But crazy stuff. New flight sim. Never thought I'd make a video on flight sim. Never thought I'd be so impressed by everything I heard. Just the accurateness and, oh dude, like even the water, the currents in the water and stuff, just insane. I do want to play more. Like, it seems relaxing as hell. Like, some of these guys, they stream that. They literally just stream for hours in the plane, talk to their chat. Like, hell yeah, dude, I'd do that actually. That sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds pretty cool. So, also never thought I would fly a plane. So there you have it. Flight sim. Very excited about it. Believe it comes out next year. I'm gonna have to verify that. It will say whether or not on screen right now. Thanks for watching. This is your captain speaking. See you next video.